Okay, so I've talked about this in passing before, but I wanted to make a whole video because I'm kind of obsessed with this neighborhood at the moment. Right now, I'm walking through what I believe to be the most underrated neighborhood in Denver by a long shot. This is a smaller neighborhood, but it's still very central, and it's directly adjacent to some of the most well-known and most expensive neighborhoods in all of Denver. But you can get a house here for considerably less than those other neighborhoods. I'm talking hundreds of thousands or even literally millions of dollars less. The neighborhood is Rosedale, okay? It's just south of Platt Park and it's west of University, close to Wash Park too. Surrounded by all these other, like I said, kind of blue chip marquee Denver neighborhoods. We're gonna take a look at the numbers and what houses cost here compared to some of those other neighborhoods. I'm gonna show you exactly why I think this is a great place to buy. But before that, let me tell you why I love it here. All right, so just taking a little drive to see the neighborhood. For those of you who don't know, Sam Newman, I'm a Denver realtor. It is my goal to be your go-to real estate resource for anything in and around the city of Denver. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you just want to talk or discuss anything real estate. So the homes here are typical of what you're gonna find in a lot of Denver neighborhoods. There's a lot of ranches, healthy number of bungalows, some 2 stories, Denver squares mixed in. There's also a fair amount and more popping up of new builds or pop tops and remodels. Driving by one right now with an awesome rooftop deck. So you got some classic and some modern. There's kind of something for everyone. And one of the reasons I mentioned before is the home prices, and you're able to get in smaller, lower price homes that are more starter homes here that you're not in some other Denver neighborhoods as much. It's actually got 3 parks in it. And for a neighborhood that's not very big, that's one of the things I love. It's a ton of green space. A lot of houses too, but a ton of green space. The biggest one is Harvard Gulch Park. It's a real big park. Tons to do. You can just go lay out, but there's lots of activities there to do too. There's a rec center, there's like a golf course. It's a big one. And then there's a couple smaller parks. Right now I'm in a smaller adjacent park. It's the City of Kunming Park. It's named after a sister city in China. But man, great spot to hang out. And it actually sits up on this crest of this hill here. And so you can look to the west and get clear mountain views. Hard to beat. I don't know if you can see them behind me. It's a little cloudy today and it's tougher to see on video, but they are there. And that's one of the things about, living in Denver. We're close to the mountains. If you don't know a lot about Denver, you might think it's in the mountains. It's obviously not. It's on the plains east of the mountains, but the proximity to the mountains is one of the big selling points of the city. But there aren't that many places, especially parks, in the city of Denver where you get great mountain views. If you're at a cool rooftop patio, restaurant, bar, or a lot of people's, maybe they have a deck in their house if their house is strategically placed, like some of those behind me. You'll get mountain views, but I don't know, 70–80% of the time you're not seeing the mountains. So it's nice. One of the things I love about this neighborhood is where it is. It is placed in a way that's on this hill where whether you're just driving through or you're at one of these parks, you can get mountain views. It's very walkable too. It's a walkable neighborhood. Like, it's near a lot of things, but it's a good neighborhood just for walking through. A lot of sidewalks and just not terribly busy. You don't feel like you're gonna get run over all the time. It's some busier streets that border the neighborhood. Broadway to the west is the western border. That's obviously busier. Evans to the north, that's the north border. It's a busier street. But once you're in the neighborhood, it's pretty quiet, pretty serene. And you can also walk to these other neighborhoods I was talking about before. You can walk to Platt Park easily. It's right up there. Walk to Old South Pearl, Sushi Den, all that stuff. But you don't actually have to leave the neighborhood to get to shopping, dining, bars, and restaurants too. Right now I'm on the Downing Street business district here in Rosedale. It's a little busier. You can probably hear it, maybe some of the cars and stuff, but not a ton going on here, but just enough. Some really great shops. There's a little India, there's a sushi place, the Roaming Buffalo Barbecue, one of the better barbecue places in town. Very important. Just let that extremely loud garbage truck pass. But anyway, there's enough going on here to keep you occupied. It's not gonna meet all your needs, but it's very cute. It has Right Cream, which I'm about to walk by right now, and is the best ice cream in town and probably the world. Did a whole dispatch on it. There it is. Not completely on Right Cream, but Right Cream stole the show. So that's a big draw. And then also recently-ish opened in this neighborhood, Denver Beer Company. Denver Beer Co. is a big get for any neighborhood. It'll really put a neighborhood on the map. So, it's a great place to hang out. So it's a great spot. Big open patio. patio. Great place to spend a nice summer, spring, fall day, even some winter days. And over on the west side of the neighborhood is South Broadway. I hopped in the car. It's a little busier down here, so it's a little easier to get around. But on South Broadway, there's pretty much really everything you need. I mean, there's great pizza, Mexican, there's a couple breweries, there's some cocktail lounges, but beyond that, I mean, there's fast food, there's car washes, there's auto mechanics, it's really everything. Little different vibe over on South Broadway, but a lot going on. And what I like about Rosedale is this is, the edge of the neighborhood, but it's not necessarily in the neighborhood, so you get access to all this stuff without this being right in your neighborhood. All right, so now real quick, we are gonna head back to the office and check out home prices and take a deeper look into what I was telling you earlier, how Rosedale has a lot of the benefits of the surrounding neighborhoods, but is much, much more affordable. All right, so back in the office, just looking at the MLS here, I don't want to take a bunch of time looking at this, but just a little bit to give you an idea of what's going on as far as pricing. I got Rosedale circled. Now you see it's just not very big, so there's not a ton that's on the market or pending or anything like that. We'll come back to this, but real quick, I pulled comps and all the sold comps in the surrounding neighborhoods. So I pulled Platt Park here to the north, Wash Park just because it's here to the northeast and a prominent neighborhood in the area, and then also University too. And so we're just going to look at the differences in prices between those and Rosedale. So the first one, Rosedale, these are the prices here. Where's my little, so a lot of numbers here, don't worry about all of them, but this over the last year, the average close price, $753,000, 753. Median's right around there too, 753 for Rosedale. If we move over to, I'm still drawing there, done. If we move over to Platt Park, this is Platt Park. And if we want to look at the average, you're probably seeing it already, but the average is just over $1 million. Significant difference there. Significant. The median is much lower. I like to use the average in this instance, not all the time. Actually, I usually, probably more often than not, use median, but average when we're comparing neighborhoods like this, it gives weight to those high dollar properties, right? They pull that average price up. And what we're looking at is affordability of the neighborhoods. So when more of the housing stock in a neighborhood is those high dollar properties, there are fewer opportunities to get into one of these neighborhoods at a more reasonable, more entry level price point. So that's why I like looking at average, because it accurately reflects how many of those, the percentage of those properties that are high dollar properties like that. So Platt Park's average is just over $1 million, which is a significant difference, 750 to $1 million. If we want to look at Wash Park, I mean, this is insane. This is even more insane than I expected. Over the last 365 days, the average close price, $2.3 million. Are there homes under $1 million in Wash Park? Yes. But what this average reflects is that the majority, or at least it's much more weighted towards those luxury, enormous builds in Wash Park than it is in these other neighborhoods, especially Rosedale. Even the median, look at this. The median is 1.9 million. So that's not doing anybody any favors either. And then if we go over to University, it's much more reasonable, but it's still higher. University is a well thought out, but more affordable neighborhood. It's still over $100,000 more on the average price. This is for single family homes than Rosedale is. So significant difference. Let's just go back to the MLS and look at a little bit what's on the market here. So like you see, there's not a lot going on right now, but there are some, these are the parks I was talking about. It's built around these parks. This one is on the market, just came on the market at the time of this recording for $850,000. Yes, that's more than the average, but 2,200 square feet, 5 bed, 3 bath. Okay. And if we look at the photos, it's pretty darn nice. It's a remodel, and it's across from the park. That's what I didn't mention yet. This one, if we look at the map, literally one block over from the park, just right across. Going back to this map here, you do have some, like there's one on the market for 1.3. There's a few under contract that are nice to look at too, like this one right here, under contract for $740,000. It's a smaller guy, 1,100 and change square feet, 2 bed, 1 bath. But if we take a look at it, it's nice. We can pull up the full suite of pictures here. I mean, this is what people are looking for. Again, not real big, but as far as a starter home, you're getting into that price point, much lower than you are. I mean, hundreds of $1,000s lower than these other neighborhoods in the area. This one's under contract on the south side of the park, okay? $625,000, and it was on the market for over 3 weeks. So the idea that we don't know what it'll close for yet, but it's probably not under contract for more than the ask price. This is a 3 bed, 2 bath, 1,400 square feet, okay? So this is kind of the definition of a starter home. If you look through it, it could use some love. It could use some updates. Let's load pictures here. You're going to want to do some updates, but for starter homes, that's what we're looking for. And in this price range, it's tough to
to find that in any of these surrounding neighborhoods. So, if we take a look at the full suite of photos here, I mean, it's a nice little house. It's got a basement. It's got a big backyard with a patio. It's right by the park. This neighborhood, guys, there's just nothing else right now in Denver that I think gives as much value as Rosedale does. For the money, for the convenience, for the things to do, for the walkability, for all that stuff. So these are my thoughts. Hopefully this is helpful to you at all. If it was, or if I can do anything for you, just like I say off the top, do not hesitate to reach out. My contact information will be all around this video, as it always is. Thank you for watching. As always, I will see you soon. Love you.